are live this morning at the Clay County Sheriff's Department, and there's their camera. Unfortunately, there was an overnight shooting in Avondale. A teenager was killed in a drive-by shooting, and there's still a suspect on the loose, so we're here at the Sheriff's Department as opposed to being in the neighborhood. And this is what Clay County, Liberty, the county seat here, looks like this morning. This is actual government complex. I was even in the courts here for jury duty, which I didn't have to serve earlier this year. Oops, I had to get my battery. 9. Yep, got it, and then I had to do some work. So now I'm gonna do my walk. This is the new courthouse, and there's the sheriff's office. Both are kind of connected, I guess. And there's the old traditional courthouse in the town square, which I'm about to walk around the block here. Wind the clock. Or maybe it's unwind the clock, because I'm going counterclockwise. Downtown Liberty. It's going to be blazing ass hot later, so I'm going to take advantage of the cool weather this morning. Plus, we have kind of a long break between our last hit, our first hit in the 6th, and our last hit in the 6th, so I have a little bit of time to walk around the block, which I need to do more in the overnights anyway. Get out and walk a little, well, listening to the scanner and stuff. Problem is, there aren't that many great places to walk on my beat. There's the Jesse James Bank Museum, site of the first daylight bank robbery. Some people in these parts consider Jesse James a hero, sort of a Robin Hood figure. I don't. Many of the Confederates towards the end of the Civil War became more or less desperados and were robbing not for any cause other than the cause of putting money in their pockets. Maybe something could be said that they were doing it because they were put in hard times being on the losing side of the war. But don't ever let some of the Confederate groups around here know that the Confederacy actually lost the war, because they seem to think they won. But there are people who've come to us and earnestly believe that the Confederate cause was God's cause and justifiable and right, and all the people were heroes, and that the North, thus the Union, thus the United States of America, were evil. But I'm here to walk, not discuss politics, so I'll end those thoughts there. Just a beautiful town square. I love it here. This is more of a stretch my legs kind of walk, not a real walk that I need, but stretch your legs is better than nothing, I guess. Let's look at the courthouse. This looks like a WPA type courthouse, like 1930s era. Kind of an Art Deco deal, which is kind of usually a trademark of 1930s architecture. I was uber conscientious and I shot a little B-roll, mostly of the sheriff's cars up here. There's not much to show here, but I got what I could. Unfortunately, when we heard about this crime scene, it was it had already wrapped up, and so I used to work with that person at Fox 4 there, I think, Kathy Quinn. were just talking about her. Oops, don't want to run over a bike. So I thought I'll unwind the clock again, this time in the car. And as soon as I was done with my walk, ooh man, it started getting hot already before the sun has even come up. So I'm glad I at least did a little bit of leg stretching. That didn't sound right. Stretching my legs. Thanks. But it's really sad, and I hope that our kids don't get messed up in something like that. That's what every parent says, I think. We're trying our best to teach them how to lead as happy a life as you can, and central to that is not materialism, but being able to, what's the phrase? Being able to take care of yourself and the people you care about, I think. And our one of our counselors said it best, that gratitude is happiness. And I thought about that, and I'm like, yeah, I really believe that, because people who are unhappy are usually not very grateful for. They don't count their blessings. They don't see things in their lives as blessings. They only see the bad. And I mean, nobody can do that perfectly. Nobody can see the bright side of things perfectly, but we do our best. So that's my philosophical rambling of the morning. And it's already gotten warm, so I think we've pretty much left the interesting part of Liberty. Now we're in like neighborhoods and ranch houses, and there's a lot of sheriffs moving around. I'm wondering, I'm gonna go swing by Avondale. I was hoping we'd go live from there this morning, but it was felt that it wasn't secure enough, and I think it's sort of sad. I hope that if anybody from Avondale could watch this, they could say, hey, you know, we're actually a good place, because I think they are. The downtown area actually is pretty neat. I described it as cute, and it is. It's kind of a quaint little place, and it is actually a little place nestled in amongst the city. The city has sort of grown around it, and it's just this little tiny village, and it's still really pretty much just a village. It's got an interesting history too. There's actually the site of a railroad and interurban line that served the Northland. So let's go to Avondale, because I'm seeing a mass. Maybe it's just a shift change or something, but I'm seeing a mass exodus of sheriff cars, and maybe they're going to go back by the house this morning. So I can get some of that B-roll that I didn't get last night, because we didn't find out about it until everybody was gone. Well, I guess this is my morning routine, so it's time for it. You know what time it is. It's time for coffee. Coffee. So let's walk around the block and see how hot it is. And so far it's really not too bad. There's the old city jail where Ernest Hemingway was a young beat reporter, his first job out of high school. that I guess his uncle got for him, and his uncle lived here in Kansas City. Many people don't know that, including many people who live here in Kansas City. The Moonliner rocket, which was a gift from Howard Hughes to Walt Disney. This building here is the old TWA World Headquarters. TWA was the airline that Howard Hughes owned. And here's where one of my hangouts used to be, YJ's. All these buildings around here are like Film Row, where film industry would distribute everything from their movies to advertising materials for movies. They had the whole country divided up into regions, and these little distribution centers would distribute the materials whenever a movie would come out. They'd send out all the advertising materials and everything. A little memorial plaque with Mickey Mouse on it, so maybe this had something to do with Walt Disney. This whole area of the Kansas City Crossroads is named after all the highways that pretty much came through this part of town. And I believe, namely, the Jefferson Highway and the National Old Trails Road. And they crossed here. And in the, I believe the 60s, 70s, maybe the 80s, artists started moving in here because they were gentrified out of their other areas they wanted to be in, like Westport, places like that. And they found that they could rent a whole building here for next to nothing, because back in the 70s, everything around downtown Kansas City was not desirable real estate back then. And now the artists are all being gentrified out of the Crossroads. So history repeats itself. And I love these flowers and these vines here. It's time to go home. I meant to do a little driving tour of Avondale, but unfortunately I got so involved in what I was doing, concentrating on seeing if there were sheriffs here, that I neglected to do that. And I feel like we talked about Avondale a little in not so positive light, so let's kind of give a little tour of this place that a lot of people don't even know exists unless they have a reason to come here. So here we are. Welcome to Avondale. It's a neat little homemade teardrop trailer there. And this town, this village exists because partly because there was a railroad that ended here or began here or whatever. And I think it had Quincy in the name. I think it actually did go all the way to Quincy, Illinois, or it meant to, I don't know. But it served as an interurban route. And this is a really neat village, I think. And it's I don't know if you call it a town. I guess it has a mayor and everything, but it's more like a village. Depot Saloon. You know what? I have to try that sometime, I guess. But it seems like there's a lot of people that are really into motorbikes, and this town's history, it's kind of got, you know, look at the gas pumps here. This is Doug's Choppers. Avondale Fire Station. Red Crown Gasoline. I mean, there's a lot of neat roadside vintage stuff. This town would fit in Route 66. But it's very tiny. You're pretty much out of it now, although there's one more place up here that's kind of neat. I'm not sure if I'm hitting it right, or there's a European market on the corner. I think it's called the Corner European Market, European store or something. European, good memory, European Corner Store. I don't always score with my memory, but this time I did. and I need to go in and check that out sometime. But we'll come back. And now I know Avondale goes on further up here. I'm not sure if you have a out limit sign, you know, like the city limit of Kansas City or whatever, but I'm not sure where Avondale ends and Kansas City begins unless there is a sign. Oh, there might be a sign. Kansas City North Community Center. Alright, we're turning here on Parvin if this person will let us. So I think we're out of Avondale, but it's just really kind of a interesting, neat part of the Northland. Yeah, I know we're out of it because that's KCPD Station 6. So, alrighty, that was Avondale.